All right, welcome. We're going to get right into it today. So if you're just joining us, go ahead and have a seat and get caught up and all that. We're down to like 40-minute sessions these days, so we usually go over a little bit. It goes to about an hour with some questions and answers and stuff like that. Yes, hello to all. You're welcome to come on in and get cozy. I don't know. Is that fine to say that? So, hey, Hansky. So today we're going to talk about using aliases and exporting functions and why you would do that and when and how and what that even means and the differences between Bash and Z Shell and all of that. And so it should probably go pretty quickly, so we'll have some time to do some experimentation. So I'm going to be updating this as we go. Let's again. So let's go ahead and, attach to your, I don't need to tell you to do this anymore. You know how to attach to your thing, right? So let's do this. Docker start-ai boost. You should have yours all ready to go. And I don't have a colorful prompt. Oh, yes, I do. It's in my me prompt. Yay. So that's my happy little me prompt, which, like really small, actually, given the fact that we've been messing with it yesterday. So in the bash.c file, I've already started using aliases. So let's cover aliases first. Use alias to create aliases. And so there you go. Let's talk about this. Why? Let's talk about this. Know why and when. Why and when to use an alias versus a function. Anybody want to take a stab at it? It'd be hard to type in the screen there. I mean, in the, versus a function. All right, so let's first of all identify what they are. So know what an alias is passing parameters. Yes. Yeah, that's a fundamental difference. There's actually one really core distinction between the two that I think is lost on people. And no, let's see. What to use is versus an alias versus function. I don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit when we were doing programming. So let's first of all talk about what they are. Yeah, an alias is like a shortcut. So the best way for me to think of alias is to think of at any time this letter occurs on the shell by itself, these letters will be replaced on the shell. In fact, there's an option you can set called alias expansion, which I don't know if I like it. We could probably experiment with it. Was it expand alias or something? Expand alias, I think. I don't know. You guys remember the name? I don't use it. I found it the other day. I turned it off, actually. Because it gets kind of annoying. Expand. I don't know. Maybe there's a word expand. I don't know. We're going to have lots of time today because this is a short topic. So we can go find this. Expands is effective. Expands. I like it that they put everything in terms of expansion because, on the shell, it's not like it's replaced there. It's kind of like inserted, like literally the typing the letters at that spot. And that's kind of a shell thing versus another language like Go or something. And if subscript, blah, blah, blah. How about this? We just look for shell options. I'm going to look for that again. Man bash options. We talked about options the other day too. Dash O options. Let's keep going. Shopped. Yeah. Shell built-in commands. If shopped is used, blah, blah, blah. Wait, shopped. We're going to go look for shopped. I know. Shell op, bash ops, blah, blah, blah. Okay, definitions. Here we go. Meta character, control character. No, that's not it. shop built-in. See the description of shopped below. Okay, so let's go find shopped. I'm just putting in case you're wondering, S keys. Let me turn S keys back on. It's super important that you learn how to navigate a man page effectively, because I mean that's gonna be the difference between 5 minutes looking for something and 2 seconds. See the description of shopped. Okay, we'll keep going. Shopped. Where are you, shopped? Come here, shopped. I know you're here somewhere. Shell built-ins. I know it's going to pop up. Yeah, this is long. How many pages are we at? 400. We're on line 4,187. This is why no one knows Bash, because they can't read all of that. Let's see. Shell options. Okay, keep going. Come on. There we go. All right. So, shop-show to set the option. What are the option names? Return status. Okay, here's all the option names. So I'm not going to go over this again. We already did it, but I want to get to the expansion one, right? Where is it? Compat 3.2, Compat 4.0. That's cool. I didn't know that was there. Dir expansion. Okay. If set bash replaces directory names with the results of word expansion. That's cool. If set bash attempts spelling correction on directory names during word completion. What? Wow, I have to think about adding that one. That might be fun. Exec fail, you know about that one, right? Expand aliases. There we go. If set aliases are expanded as described above under aliases, this option is enabled by default for interactive shell. All right, well, now I've just got my answer. It wasn't what I thought. So we learned something. Let's see. I want to see actually what it is. How do we do that? Shopped, expand. Let's see what the option is on. Okay, well, there you go. So make sure, you know what, I can put that in our doc now. All right, so let's see. Ensure, how about that was a word? Okay, so use shopped expand aliases to ensure active. So they are by default. So that's fine. That's good to know. All right. So I guess that was the way to turn them off. You don't have to explicitly define it, obviously, but you could if you want. All right. Next. So what is an alias? So when I type C to clear the screen, what's it doing? If I type C, and I use type because it catches aliases and commands, that just tells you what kind of thing it is, right? You wouldn't use which C in this case because which C wouldn't find it. It can, but that's funny because I have a script called C, and I have an alias called C, an expanded function called C, and you can actually have an alias called C. Actually, let's try. We can do all of 3 of them. It doesn't matter. In fact, I should probably remove that script later. Thank you for reminding me. So let's go over here. So we have a C alias, right? So now when I go this, I go C over here, and boom, it's clear. You see how fast that was too? That's way faster than Control L. Everybody, don't talk to me about your Control L if you don't know how to do Control L. I'm sorry, but Control L is not necessary, and it's kind of slow once you get a C alias. So yeah, because C is way faster. So just set up C as your alias. So that's it. Aliases are stuff you put on the command line. You put stuff in here, and you can use them again. Now there is a problem with aliases, though. So let's say you make a well, let's first of all talk about what a function is, and I'll talk about the problem between the two, and then we'll talk about which one you should use, okay? So, functions. We have got a couple functions up here already. We did one right here, right? This is a function. You already know how to do a shell function. So, let's do a section on functions. I'm going to say exported functions. It doesn't even really need to be exported. All right, so let's talk about functions. All right, so if we put functions... Now, why on earth would you put a function in your bash RC? That's a big question. People see a function and they're like, why would you do that? Why not just make a script? Why not do, there's a lot of reasons not to do this. So let's actually use a function. Somebody said functions are for passing parameters, and this is true. Aliases they're not as good at passing parameters. They can read variables. If you use we're going to talk about aliases using single quotes for aliases and why you would want to do that. We talked about that yesterday when we did PS stuff. Remember, because these stuff in here is not going to get expanded until every time it gets executed, which is basically the same. But if we did this, we could put some stuff into functions here. So one of the functions that I have actually reads from the environment, splits it up, and then loads those into the environment variables. But there's a couple other things you might want to consider. Let's do something that's a little bit simpler. So let's say that we want a. Now I'm going to use an example that you actually don't need if you set CD path. We're not going to talk about CD path today, but let's say you wanted to make a temp directory with a specific name, and you wanted to CD into the temp directory. All right, so let's make a script that does that really fast. So let's call it make temp. How about that? And actually, that's already a thing. We can't use that. We could do, how about this, about CD temp. How about that? I mean, that's kind of fun. All right, so this has got a lot of elements to the function that make it good as a bash RC function. So I'm going to, spoiler alert, I mean, the reason we put functions in here is because they initialize once when your shell loads, and then you never have to run them again. They're in memory, so they're ready to run instantly. This is the single fastest way to run code possible. There is nothing faster short of an alias. An alias is the fastest because it just replaces what you're typing. And an exported function is by far the fastest way to run anything on your system. Because all of the code is already preloaded when you log into your shell one time, and it's already in memory, sitting there waiting to be executed. It doesn't have to go load a script and then parse it and then get it ready to run, or it doesn't even have to go, see if it's an elf binary and then send that in memory and load it up in memory. It doesn't have to do any of that because it's already there. So one of the reasons that you would use a function is because they're wicked fast. They're the fastest possible way. Zshell has a different method of doing this. What it does is it actually doesn't load the function until it's needed. And then when it's needed, and you put them in different places and stuff like that. It doesn't have exported functions, and we'll get to that later. But it's essentially the same thing, because once you use a function, it's loaded forever. The difference is that Bash preloads all the functions in the Bash RC from the second you put them in here. So cd temp. So we could do this. We could do make temp. Make temp directory, which would give us a temp directory, right? And let's say, actually no, let's do this. Let's allow it to take in an argument. We already did shell scripting, so go back and watch those days. Pause right now, go watch it if you need to. So we're gonna grab an argument. So we're gonna say name, and then we'll do that, and we'll get the name here. So that's the first element of the argument list, right? And we're gonna, I was just doing this stupid thing with tabs, but oh well. And then what? Okay, so then we're gonna make that directory. So make dir -p, which is a POSIX only thing, but I don't care because this is in my bash RC. I mean, it's a non-POSIX thing. Make dir /temp / tilde name. Now I'm gonna wrap this up in quotes like a good shell scripter, and then what? Now we want to cd into it. All right, now I'm going to do this two ways. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do it as a shell script, and you tell me the difference, okay? So if I do it like this, actually, let's do it as a script first. Shall we do that? That'll be fun. Let's do that. So yeah, let's put it into a script. Let's say cd temp. All right, paste that in here. We'll make it bash just for grins. And then we're going to cd into, now I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to do what you want, right? So we're going to cd into, I'll just be lazy here. I could probably do as a variable, but whatever. All right. And then, you know about this when we talk about shell scripting, we talk about always put your stuff into a function as shell script. It's just better, because you never know when that thing's going to be necessary someplace else. You can cut and paste the script. You can cut and paste the function, using DAP or something, and you just go grab the function out of it. If you want to reuse that function in another bit of code someplace. So it makes it really nice and easy for you to do that. And then you can, I've talked about this tip in the shell scripting, but whatever. And then that means, but if you want to run that function, then what? Then you can do, it also allows you to do some easier logic that doesn't involve less and premature returns and things like that. So what are we going to do now? Now we're going to just call the thing cd temp. We're not going to use, we could use push popd. I don't use those in my shell scripts because they are bash. I know a lot of other scripters use them. I hate them because they're not POSIX compliant. So I don't use them. I don't feel a need. So yeah. And push D and pop D, I don't think work on the end results, but we're gonna see that. This will be a good experiment to see if they do. So let's try this. So we're gonna cd temp directory, and I'm gonna pass all the arguments. This is the standard way to call a function with all the arguments as they were passed to the command line, not with star. Go back and watch the days on shell scripting if you want to understand why. All right, so we've got our shell script here. Well, the biggest advantage, I will never use popd in any code I ever write. And because unless it would have to be bash only, and why? I don't need it. I don't need it. I just don't need it. So anyway, so let's try it. Okay, so we have this wonderful script right here, right? Little schmoxit, schmod plus x, cd temp. And I want to show you it's not going to do what we expect. So if I run it, cd temp, and wait a second, I didn't move. Can anybody tell me why I didn't move? Now, did it make my directory? Oh wait, I didn't give it a name, damn it. Damn it. Wait, I tell you what. Let's, all right, I forgot to give it a name, so my bad. Let's do this, foo. Still not there. Now, let's see. Yeah, but it's there, all right? So that made my directory. That happily made my directory, but it cd into it? That's a trick question. If I ask you the question, did that script cd into /temp/foo? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But because scripts in another instance, perfect. So as Ninja says here, it went in to /temp/foo and immediately exited the program, in which case it returned, it reaped that dead sub process, and the parent process regained control. That is the primary difference between an exported function and a script. You cannot change the current working directory from a script. It's physically impossible to do so. I've tried so many different ways. If somebody has a way to do this, please let me know. But I have been trying to do this forever. And it makes a lot of sense, because technically the one program's underneath the other program. And so anything it does, when it dies, allowing this program down here to change stuff of its parent is super insecure. That's like crazy insecure. And so if it were allowed to do that, change the environment variables of the running program or something, that's like crazy insecure unless you say that you can do that. And that's what exporting is all about. So that is the primary use case for a function, also for aliases. So like when you can make an alias, people do this all the time, right? So before I discovered CD path, I would make aliases like foo. In fact, I still have one. So like dot, right? What does dot do? Dot is alias to cd into my dot files. So aliases and exported functions have one primary advantage over scripts. They modify the current running shell. They have access to the environment. They can change the working directory. They can set new environment variables. They can delete environment variables. They can do everything. They have full access to everything. So as you saw, it stayed. Right now, if I had put that same exact command in a script, it wouldn't have worked. Right? It would have went there and it would have worked. It just wouldn't do what you want. So that's why. So that's the main reason. So if we take that exact same code, and we can just actually steal this, and we'll go back to our bash RC. And so it's almost completed here. So I guess we can just delete. Oopsie, just delete this guy. So here we have a cd temp, right? Okay. Now this is perfect. This will work. So now if and I don't even need to export this yet. I'm going to show you why to export in a sec. So right now we have it set up so that I'm going to source my bash RC, and now I can see what type of cd temp I have. I have a function that's going to do it, right? And now when I run cd temp, first of all, I don't have to do /, right? Because it doesn't have to be in a special place and all that. But I can also just do cd temp foo, and now I'm in foo, and we're all good, right? And I'm not going to go through the exercise of cd space dash, by the way, toggles back to the previous directory. You guys really love that one, I promise. That's a fun one. It goes back and forth. You can probably use that a lot. So anyway, the point being that the bash RC is now the place to put this kind of thing. Now, there is one caveat. Now, we're about to enter the realm of things that bash can do that Z shell cannot do the same way. It's very different. And also, the thing when we start talking about exported functions, just be aware that if you ever use an exported function, some Z shell user or old folk person is going to remind you about shell shock, or otherwise known as bash door. It was the single biggest Linux bug, I would say, in history. I mean, it was the biggest bug of probably of all time, and it was because of exported functions. You could actually alter environment variables. People were altering environment variables and changing the behavior of root level scripts that were using functions for different things. And so just by modifying the content of the environment variable, you were able to do that. So we're about to embark into, again, the purpose of the boost is to help you know what you don't know and go learn it and know what to talk about and feel informed. And in this particular case, exported functions from bash is probably the biggest black eye that bash ever got. In fact, you could make the case that after bash door happened, or shell shock, that Z shell and family became really popular after that. To this day, people still bash on it. Bash door. Let's go to shell shock. So you can do a quick search for shell shock, and you can see bash. And it's pretty old. Shell shock, also known as bash door, is a family of security bugs in the Unix bash environment in 2014, which is relatively recent, actually. No. It hasn't been around for a very, very, very long time. However, actually, there was a security. I don't know where it was, a YouTube video or a streamer or somebody, but they were talking about this. There are a lot of people who are still running software from 2014. So if you seriously want to this is not even hard to break in. We'll do it one day. One day we'll load up a system in a container that's running 2014 bash. And it's so easy. So yeah, that was the first of which was disclosed 24. Shell shock could enable an attacker to cause bash to execute arbitrary commands and gain access to many of the internet-facing facilities because of all the shell scripting problems. I don't know if it's true. I would really love to find out if the Debian distro switched to Dash for all its system scripts. I would really, that's curious. I'll have to go figure that out. Maybe somebody can do the research there. Thanks for the sub, ASCII Entertainment, Ascertainment. I think that the dates are, no, they're not actually. That would have been 2007, I'm thinking. So Debian got rid of Bash because it was primarily a performance problem. It's taken way too long to boot. Bash is just horribly bloated compared to Dash for system level inits and stuff like that. This is pre-systemd, but so anyway, just know about shell shock, and I'm going to put that in the notes. Okay, just know about shell shock, so you don't sound like a noob. I mean, that's really the only reason. Because people always bring up when you do functions. Okay, so why do you care about exported functions? First of all, Mr. Rob, I don't need an exported function. You just proved to me I don't need one. Because, obviously this works, right? Well, this doesn't work when you want to do other stuff. So let me give you an example. It's kind of weird and on the edge, but when you hit it, it's super annoying. It's another reason that you should use exec a lot of times when you're calling scripts, but that's a separate issue, sort of. So let's do this. So if I am editing a file, and temp foo, I guess that's the directory, right? Yeah, fine. It is now. So if I'm editing, temp bar is temp bar. Okay, so I'm editing this file. Right, I'm having fun editing this, not putting anything in particular in there. And then, like I'm prone to do, I want to run a function. So actually, no. Let's make a better case for this. It's something that's more useful. So you know, remember that whole date stuff, right? Yeah. Ooh, so you might, here's a really good one. Here's a really, really good one. So you're going in, you're making aliases. You're going to say, I want to make an isosec, right? I want to make an isosec. What's the isosec? How do you do it with the date command? Anybody remember? Date, I'm going to cheat because I don't care. I don't remember offhand. I should. I do not. So let's say you want to make this really cool isosec timestamp that you can use in your scripts or anywhere. And so you want to take this. The reason this is a one-line script is for the reason I'm about to tell you. So when you put this here, I mean, this looks all well and good, right? Now I've got oopsie daisy, forgot the equals. So isosec. Oh, wow, cool. I mean, it's so fast, you know, why not make everything a function? That was funny. Type isosec. Oh, you know what? Isosec is the alias to blah, 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 right? So now bear with me. So if I'm going to edit this bar file, right? I want to put an isosec timestamp right here, right? Now, if I'm going to do date, bang, bang, date, get a date, that's all nice, right? No problem. But what if I do that with isosec? Bang, 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 isosec. Isosec, replace the current line with isosec. That's what bang, bang does. Uh-oh. Can I get access to parent directories? No such file or directory. What the heck? I broke something somehow. But not only that, I can't find it. Why can't I find it? What's the shortest answer to that question? Why can't it find it? When I do, well, we haven't talked about VI a lot yet, actually. But one of the things about VI is that it allows you to send the current line. So you could write isosec. I use this all the time for different things. I use it for math, you know. So, you know, I'll just recap this really quick. So if you do BC, you could do scale equals 2, you know, 2 divided by 3. And I want to do that math with BC. I do BC and it replaces the math. I've got a problem here. Oh, BC's not installed. Whoopsie. You get the point. Actually, it's not about privileges. You know, that's a good guess, but it's not. What it's about is it can't find it. You know why? Because it's not in the subshell. So the point to take away from this is, so I'm going to put this here. Aliases do not propagate to subprocs. Some people call that a subshell. I call it subproc because it could be any program, right? Any program inherits the environment of its parent every single time, and unless it's not been exported, right? How do you spell propagate? I spelled it wrong. There you go. Okay. Aliases do not propagate to subprocs. So guess what else doesn't export? Doesn't. Functions do not propagate unless exported. And you can't export an alias. Aliases cannot be exported. So that's a problem with aliases. It's a big problem. So if you think, oh, I want to maintain it all in here and stuff, I want my so that's why sometimes it makes sense to have a one-line script. And we did talk about it in the scripting days. You can go back and watch the scripting days, and we'll get you get some more understanding of that. Okay. Here's something though. Let's try. You could make isosec into an exported function, but there's still a disadvantage. It's very hard. It's a much harder disadvantage for me to show you, but I will show you. Okay, I'll do my best. So when you do a bash RC, so let's say, okay, well, gosh, this is not an alias. So CD, first of all, CD temp is a function, but this is not the kind of thing that we would need to export, right? I don't need to CD temp from within VI. I could. Actually, that's not particularly true. I mean, I might, let's explore an example of when I might want to do that. So actually they removed the colon shell in NeoVim, another one of the many stupid reasons not to use that alpha software. And so, but if you, so let's do this, VI temp bar, So if you do :shell, right, from within VI, and we haven't done any VI. We did VI, a little bit of VI on that, but we haven't. I mean, you should have done it, but no, we covered this. We covered this, so we're good. Okay, so that is, see that? It gave me a shell. Now I'm getting some other error because I screwed up something. I should probably reconnect. It'll make the error go away. Here, let's do that really quick because I want this to be clean. I don't want you to get confused by these random errors. I only have to go back up to root though. I don't have to reattach to the boost container. So SUME, so I should be fine now, right? All right, so Larry, temp bar, whoops, so temp bar. So we got temp bar here. Let's try all our stuff here again. Isosec, bang bang bash. That's how you send something to bash. And it did, and it came back and said, "I'm sorry, I can't find it." So, what will we do? Well, we're gonna try to do our fix here. I just clear the comments so they're not. I want them to be relevant when they have questions. So let's go back here. All right, so let's say, okay, I'm going to get fancy now. So instead of it being an alias, make it a function. All right, it's going to be a function now. It's going to be a function. I don't care if it doesn't have any variables. I mean, inputs. It doesn't need any inputs, right? You know what you could do? You want to see something really freaking cool? You can pass all the arguments to it so that you can actually set the isosec timestamp based on an offset for like last Monday or something. So stinking cool. The date command has got so many untapped cool things. Spend time reading the date man page. It is so amazing. There's stuff in it that you don't even know exists. So we're going to do this. We're going to say, fine, since we can pass arguments, we might as well. So we're going to pass all the extra arguments to it, but we're going to start with this one. Right, so that means if I wanted to offset or anything like that, we can go to, I can even reset -u if I want to override it, but no, not gonna. So there we go, got our function, right? So let's test our function. Please work. Damn. Set new. I want my numerators. What's going on, people? What did I forget? Let's see. Oh, wait. I feel very silly. Oh my God, I feel so stupid for not catching that. Thank you for not laughing. Damn. What am I doing wrong, people? Line 52. I have something not right. Something is not right. I'm bleeding. All right. Oh, all right. Now it's fine. Well, okay. So isosec. Boom. Isosec. Yeah. Right. How about this? -d last week. Damn. Oh, I just want to show you this coolness. Not now. Display time described by string. Yes. Right. Dash. Ha! Isn't that cool? That is so sneaky cool. Look, you can actually do -d tomorrow. There's the same exact time tomorrow, or in 1 week, or on January 1st, 1929. I mean, you can. It's so cool. You can. So anyway, I'm not geeking out on the date command. Just learn -d. I mean, it's really cool. I mean, so like if you're doing like blog entries or you're making it, to do this is lots of practicality for this cool little command. So you obviously you want to be able to use it while you're editing your files, your bar file with a bunch of gibberish in it. Obviously, you want to be able to say isosec last year. How about that, right? Or date last year or something like that, right? So I pass that. What's going to happen anyway? Want to guess? Pass that off to bash, and I get isosec command not found. Oh yeah, there's like so many things you can do with that. It's insane. So isosec command not found. Why? Look, it's not an alias anymore. What the heck? All right, there's a reason. The reason is because the subshell still cannot see it, just like the alias. Now this is when export to the rescue. Now you could just do this. You could just say export isosec, but it has become something of a convention. You guys remember the good old ampersand operator? The conjunction. this says don't try to export it if it didn't define properly. So if you make an error or something inside of your thing, like I did like 5 times in a row, it would not attempt to export it and therefore further complicate your day. So this is just kind of an idiom, I guess, a convention where you just put and export isosec, and it will dump. It will export the function. Oh wait, -f. Don't forget the -f. Got to have -f. If you want to read about this, do help export. And that will read the help command. I always forget about it, but what it does is it isolates that section of the bash man page. So as you can see, you can use -f, refer to shell functions. Now, when you do this, remember the shell shock problem? This is why. So if you do env and try to look at all your environment variables, obviously you've got all kinds of weird stuff in here, right? And then the next right part of the logic path that's exactly right. Yep, that's exactly what it does. Pixu, good call. So here we have all the stuff we did with the colors and setting the left term is the big downside of that. Obviously, is that it's going to do this. There's no way around it. But look at this right here. So bash function isosec. You see this? See this right here? This is a super duper special environment variable that is actually set. And to the hackers out there, you may still be able to exploit this in some way, unknown to mankind or womankind or peoplekind, whatever. But yeah, so you can actually do this. You could do, well, let's try this. I don't know how to get these things. grep bash. How about that? There we go. So that gave me the first line of it. But as you can see, there's functions. You can actually turn env so it doesn't show all the exported functions off. And all right, so why do we care? Well, let's do our thing again. We're running out of time, so let's do this. So now I've got this, my isosec, bang, bang, bash. And I got my time, yay, right? And I can undo that, do it again, bang, bang, bash. I got it, right? Now, unfortunately, we don't have Go installed on here, so I'm going to have you imagine. So put your imagination caps on, and let's see if you can see this. All right, so imagine that you're doing something that is not shell related. Like, well, I don't know. Maybe you're writing a Python script, a Perl script. Maybe you're writing some Go code, Rust code, whatever. Every time, so as we said, the reason I like to call them subprocs and not subshells is because any program you ever run fires off a forked subprocess, of the current parent. It's exactly what it does. It forks a current parent at that state, changes a bunch of numbers and stuff, process ID, and then it becomes a new thing, right? And in our case, when we started VI, if we were to look closely, we would have seen VI as a child of our parent shell. And then when we did that bang bang bash stuff, that would have been a child of the running VI process. Well, thankfully for VI, when we do bang bang bash, when it fires up the bang bang command, all the stuff that we're doing that takes the current line, sends it to the shell, and then runs it. Well, we were saying go to bash and then run this. Well, the reason that bash didn't choke on isosec is because isosec is a function of bash. But the reason that I do one-line shell scripts, and I learned this through very hard experience, is sometimes you want to, like if you have an ecosystem of scripts, which is the Unix philosophy, it should do one thing well and integrate with everything else. That is the Unix philosophy. And if you have multiple pieces of utilities that you're building and you want them to work together, you will likely encounter a scenario where you might want to run this isosec from a program. So let's say I write a Go utility, which is more common these days than ever, especially now that I'm working on command box, the busy box for Go, and so I'm writing utilities in Go a lot more, or Perl or Python. And when you do that and you use the exec system call, whatever it is, it's almost always called exec. Perl, it's exec. Python, it's exec. System.exec, I think. Go, it's like os.execute or something. There's like myriad. So it's all the same stuff. You know, we're going to run this sub process as a child, right? Well, if you go to do that with this exported function, and if it's not a standalone executable, this is an exported function, you can't do it. So, and I hit that problem because I was using a utility. I was doing some Go coding and some Perl coding, and boom, I couldn't do it. I couldn't run it because these things that you're exporting are only available to things that use bash as their subshell. And when you're doing a direct exec, you don't even have a shell. You're just executing that program. You're not executing it within the context of a running shell. Now, that's, as I said, I told you you was going to have to put your imagination caps on. At the end of the day, I will tell you that through sad experience on my part, a single line executable is always better than an alias or an exported function. And I know that seems very counterintuitive. I know, because I did it the other way for years. So I just want you to understand it. By the way, when you do that, if it is a shell script, if you don't just put date here, because that would force it to do yet another thing, always put a little bit of an exec here. And then that says, we're going to reuse the same, rather than having it fork a child, we're going to say, reuse my same running process and then stick date in there instead. And so that's what's happening when you do a one-liner like this. All right. In fact, this needs to change. I need to make this more funner. I forgot. I need to put that on there. Thank God I noticed that. Oh, I noticed that. Yeah. Yes, I did. I just noticed that. I got, pardon me while I commit this. Commit isosec, add support for arguments to isosec, and I'm going to get pushed that. And we're going to learn all about this stuff later, don't you worry. I can better update the tag on that. Tags v0.72.4. We're going to learn how to do all that. Don't worry. I just wanted to get it done while I was still thinking of it, since I have 2 minutes left. So now you know. All right, so let's recap. So know what an alias is. Aliases do not propagate to subprocs, but they do affect the current working environment. Working shell, the currently running shell, the current interactive shell, I guess we could say. They do. So like a CDs and everything work, right? So what about a function is? So a functions interact the current import shell unless exported. Okay, so then we could say exported functions affect subshells, affect, let's say, bash subshells. Okay, we could put this, but not subprocs. And if you know what that means, you've mastered processes versus shells. Okay, bash subshells versus not subprocs. They're technically kind of the same, but to ensure you have it, know when to use the alias in a function. I don't know whether I should put that there or not. I don't know. Just know about shell shock in case somebody asks. Use alias to create aliases. Okay, so we'll do alias to create aliases, and then we'll use let's see, use foo and export -f foo to export functions. Okay, so I think that's about it. We got shell shock, we got aliases and functions. Remember, scripts are almost always better. And the only reason a script would not be your first pick here, you can probably guess, is when you want to affect the current interactive shell. I'm going to put that in a thing. Only reason not is when changing current interactive shell. All right. That is really the only reason scripts are better. And I don't know if we should put that first or last, but we'll just leave it in there. And we're going to call it for today. So I encourage you to go explore this stuff and try some different things. There are cases. So the most bestest function, exported function, is one that actually changes your currently running shell. Wow, that was quite a thing there. So let me give you an example of that. If you want to look at my bash RC, you can, which is in my dot files, artifxrob/dot on GitHub. And if you want to see an example of a shell function that makes sense, I have a thing called envx, which I really love. So what I learned about this from the container world. So what this does is a pretty complicated little shell script. Maybe study it, see if you understand it. But what it does is it takes a file and it puts envx as a command. And so in order to change my environment in the current shell, not in the subshells or anything like that. So here's the use case. The IN is, no, that's title case, my friend. So let me put it this way. The use case is this. You want to change an environment variable, right? And you want to change it in the current shell without doing exec bash and all that jazz and everything, right? So I made a function called envxv. And so anytime I change anything in the tilde.env, whether that's a good place to put it or not, I don't know. Maybe I should put it under .config, okay, who knows? But anytime I change any key equals value pairing in there, I chop it up and I run it in the current environment. So and then in order to do that, all I have to do is do to .env. I got stuff in there I don't want to see, but I do that and then I just do envx, and that actually reruns my environment without creating a subshell or anything. So that is an example of pretty much almost the only function I have. I do have another one. I have another one called new command that I have because I want to cd. Anytime I want to change my working directory, hands down, that's a function. That's automatically an exported function. Because why? Because I can't even cd around if I'm going to do that. So my new command, this is actually a really fun one. This new command thing will actually, well, there's another one too. There's like new, this one, where is it? New script or something. Oh, no, different. Okay. So this one will actually set up a Git repo and everything. And then it just like dumps me out in the right place. So I'm ready to start coding. And of course that kind of messing with your shell cannot be done unless you do it from an exported function. All right. So hopefully that's enough examples for you from the real world to see. And I think that's all. Let me just read this comment here. Many of these things have been familiar to me for a while, but I haven't done it due diligence to actually dig it out. Me too. That's why what actually happens under the hood. This is very well explained, and I'm very thankful for the content produced there. Oh, that's nice to say. Thank you. Unfortunately, my headset just ran out of battery, so I'm off to sleep. That's why we changed it to 40 minutes. People were like, they were running out of like physical batteries too. There's just too much content. So we're doing 40 minutes to an hour every day. Hopefully that's enough for you to take in, and it'll keep the content, I think, a little bit more granular, so people can skip stuff they already know as opposed to having to fast forward through the whole thing. It's kind of a happy medium between doing these really teeny tiny videos about one topic and the 3-hour things that I did in the past, which I will never do again, I promise. And so that, oh, nice resub. Thank you there for the resub. Yeah, I'm going to say it. I'm going to start saying it more. There's resub, there's GitHub, Patreon, and Patreon. All of those are ways you can sponsor me. GitHub is my preferred, because you get to see your little happy face on the GitHub there when you sponsor me for, as low as $2 a month. Thank you for everything you do. But most of all, please pass the word on. It's more important about other people hearing about this knowledge so they can learn it early in life instead of having to wait around till they're 53 and make a bunch of videos about it. So, and if you have stuff to correct on me, let me know and put them in the comments below. We've had a lot of really interactive, great discussions in the comments that I just went through yesterday. Last night, I haven't been reading comments on YouTube. I'm going to be doing it a lot more now. And they've been great. I mean, the people that, oh, thanks for that. The people who have been promoting the ideas we've had. If you want to really help out on the stream, just add chapter markers and stuff. You don't need to do that so much anymore because they're kind of on topic. But if there's something you find interesting, you have questions, the comment threads are persistent in YouTube, so they're really, really great. And I can always delete the stupid ones. Okay, boomer, I get that all the time. Not a boomer. 2 years shy. That is all. See you tomorrow. I don't know what they say. I'm a